Hello and welcome to another edition of the Talking Fantasy Baseball podcast. I'm your host, Eric Henriksen, and with me once again, he is the Batman to my Robin, the Shrek to my Donkey, the Simon to my Garfunkel. It's Josh Day. Josh, how you doing?
Wow, what an intro. I don't know what to say, but I'm ready to hang out and talk some fantasy baseball trades.
Yes, today we are talking trades. That's right, the trade deadline is fast approaching IRL, and that means in your fantasy leagues as well. I know we have an August 7th deadline for both of our leagues. So we have a special episode dedicated entirely to trades today. So we're going to talk about the results of our trade talks from last week. We're going to talk about our trading experiences in both leagues over the last few days, and we have a few stories for you. So buckle up. And we'll jump into a tool on Yahoo called the Trade Market, where we'll input some of the hottest real-life names, creating the trade buzz at this year's deadline to see what they're going for in fantasy. And trust me, this is going to be fun because that market gets
Yeah,
kind of wild.
it's really eye-opening what player values are.
It really is. So just a friendly reminder, we release new episodes twice each week. Our full feature-length episode on Fridays, sometimes Saturdays, and Tuesdays with our shorter news and notes episode we call the Midweek Minutes. So be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. We're available on all major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and the Odyssey app. And leave us a 5-star rating, a like, a thumbs up, a kind review. It goes a long way in helping us out. So with that out of the way, let's talk trades.
Do it.
All right, first up, we're going to talk about the results of our trade talks from last week.
Yeah.
So, last episode, I revealed and teased that we would discuss the results of it this week. Just to recap, in the 12-teamer, we had an offer out there where, Josh, you proposed your Jordan Westburg for my Chase Burns.
Right.
Now, just really quickly, explain the reason that that was your offer. Now, there was a preliminary offer from me, and I'm terrible at putting together trades at first, and you came to me with that counter. So just explain what was going through your mind real quick about why that particular counter is what you came to.
Not to spoil a little bit down the rundown, but in our 12-team league, I have a plethora of third basemen. I was just getting into a roster crunch, and you were a good trade partner because you have Austin Riley. He was injured, and also you could use an upgrade at second base. So Jordan Westburg is eligible at second and third. So in a way, and he's, I think he's would be a great second baseman the rest of the way. So I think it was a great target for you. Unfortunately for me, I'm kind of suffering in the pitching department in that league, and so are you. And I think that's why this was ultimately the trade didn't work out. But you offered me several pitchers that I just didn't think were of the value of Westburg, which is fine. You also offered some picks, but then I kind of wanted to get away from that, and so you had picked up Chase Burns. So to me, I think Chase Burns is of similar value to Westburg. Both are of notable young talent, both have upside, both have keeper value in our league. So I just thought that was a fair trade down the line.
It absolutely was. It was the perfect counter to what I had offered you. And I immediately texted you when you sent it to me that I knew that was where we were going to end up when it came down to it. And the reason I didn't offer that is because I wasn't sure I could go there with the rest of my staff. And ultimately, like you said, the trade didn't work out. I declined, not because it wasn't fair or outrageous, and we'll get to some of those. But because I didn't feel like I had the flexibility within my pitching staff to make the sacrifice of the upside of Burns for
Sure.
the upside of hitting in Westburg. The rest of my lineup has like Acuna and Olsen and Riley and Kyle Tucker. So it's
Right.
it's pretty solid, but my pitching staff is Glasnow and Max Fried and Chris Bubich and Sonny Gray. And it's just way, way, way too many question marks relative to the hitting. So that's why I just couldn't do it, even though that was a perfectly reasonable trade for both of us to make outside of my pitching staff stinks.
Yeah.
That was the way a trade negotiation is supposed to work, in my opinion.
Mhm.
We were in constant communication about it. I
Yep.
told you I figured that there wasn't any rush because it was in the middle of the All-Star break. There were no games.
Yep.
Chase Burns wasn't even scheduled to start for a couple days until after the break. I wasn't just ghosting you. whereas, as you've said to me many times, there's a reject button, and people don't
Yeah.
seem to understand that exists.
Yeah, that's really confusing to me. It's just like people that just let trades languish, and it's just like if you're not going to accept it, just hit reject. Like even during our exchange here, you sent me an offer, and you said you communicated that you were still thinking about my offer, but I was like, well, I'm gonna cancel the offer you sent me because that shows you that I'm not gonna take what you sent me. Like
Yeah.
it's just off the board. And maybe that will get you to start thinking of other possibilities rather than me just leaving it there. And then even though we're talking, maybe you're thinking like, oh, maybe he's, still kind of open to this thing. So I just think even if you're not going to like trade ultimately with somebody, it's just good etiquette to reject it
Absolutely.
because that just shows that you're not interested, or maybe that will just take the trade conversation in another direction. It's just useful information and it's proper etiquette. So
It really is. And proper etiquette is something that we will touch on later in the pod
yeah.
with one of the stories that I have for you. But yeah, so our trade didn't work out, but that's okay. But we've got some stories of the week for you
Yep.
in our negotiations. I made a couple trades. Josh made a trade, again, not with each other, and we'll have that for you in just a second. Stories of the week. All right, so like I said, we did make trades, both of us in the 12-teamer. I also made one in the 10-teamer.
Yep.
Like I said, just not with one another, and it wasn't for lack of trying. So we're going to start with my 12-team trade. I sent a 10th round pick, which ultimately, with the way keepers work in that league, you can keep up to 6 players. They take rounds 1 through 6, depending on how many you keep. Round 7 is the first round of actual draft picks. So the 10th round pick that I sent is really the 4th round of selections in the draft. And I sent that over to a manager for Freddie Peralta.
Mhm.
Again, I just talked about how my pitching staff was a giant question mark. Bubic, Sonny Gray, Glasnow, Fried, and I acquired arguably another question mark. As some experts in the industry call him Professor Chaos.
Yep.
Now, I looked at his numbers, I did all the research, and he's more stable, and he falls into the overall consensus rankings around the industry of a Sonny Gray and a Chris Bubic. So I acquired like a number 2, number 3 starter, but it increases the depth of my rotation. And I got a little bit more stable, like I said, but I was able to drop Yu Darvish.
Right.
And after his outing last night where he got shelled, I was really happy to just get rid of him in that trade. So I feel like I got a little bit more stability.
Yep.
And I thought it was fair value. And that manager, I emailed him because we had made a trade in the preseason. So I had emailed him and he was very responsive. He even apologized for not getting back to me sooner about the trade. And I said, that's totally fine. The way the Yahoo app is designed, you can miss a trade if you don't get the notification or you miss the notification on a busy day or something. He looked at it and he got back to me in 15 minutes. And we just went back and forth real quick and made the deal. That's the way it's supposed to go.
How it should be. Yep.
4th round pick for Freddie Peralta in a keep forever league where he is still may hold some keeper value if he has a decent second half. And even if he doesn't, I have other pieces to move to reacquire a pick in that round. I think it was a simple and good deal.
Yeah.
All right, so on to you, Josh. Your 12-team trade, you alluded to the fact that you had a surplus of third baseman.
Yep.
So not only is he a hot name on the actual hot stove in real life, but you put him out there in our 12-team league, and that's Eugenio Suarez. You dealt away for Logan Webb. And so you also finally add another rotation piece.
That's right. I had a surplus of third baseman. I have Eugenio Suarez, Alex Bregman, and Jordan Westberg. Bregman I drafted. Suarez was dropped, so I picked him up, and Westberg was dropped, so I picked him up.
I still can't believe that one.
I had primarily been using Suarez since Bregman has been injured, but then Bregman just came off the IL, and I have Westberg. So I just have like I have my hitting is just really good in that league. So I just have like a deep bench of bats, and my pitching is kind of underwhelming, and I just need more arms. Yeah, I've sort of been poking around in that league. It's really frustrating as we've been talking about because it's like pulling teeth. It's like no one's really responsive to Yahoo offers, and then it's just like, oh, how much do I want to like comb through emails to track people down, and then I don't know. It's a little unpleasant, to be honest, in that league with some of these managers, as you'll get to, and with your stories coming up. Um, it's just not really worth the chase. But anyway, the commissioner of that league is very active. His whole deal is he just really churns through his roster, both hitting and pitching. He does have Aaron Judge, which if you have Judge or Otani, I think you can kind of afford to do this sort of strategy. But anyway, I just know that he's just very active and just he's not really attached to people. And Suarez obviously is having a career season. I know Logan Webb's kind of been sputtering a bit, so I was wondering if maybe he was going to be sour on him. I probably could have gotten more for Suarez, but again, this league is just like it's not the easiest to make trades. And I just feel like I'm starting to slip in the standings, so I just feel like I have to make a move. So yeah, I offered him Logan Webb, Webb kind of a number two, number three, depending on the month, and he accepted within I think 30 minutes. So yeah, worked out.
Eugenio Suarez was a subject of disdain, to say lightly, on the podcast earlier this year. Remember those like 3-4 weeks between April and May where he did nothing?
Nothing.
Like he was an absolute zero. I think he only scored 2 runs. He didn't
Yeah, that's
have
right.
any RBIs. He didn't have any home runs. And yet look where he is now. That's incredible. I don't know what happened. It's one of the strangest things ever, I think, because it's not like he's had a cold spell between then and now. He's just been hot
Yeah.
outside of those 3 weeks. And I dropped him in the 10-teamer. We detailed that earlier and you know, whatever.
Whatever.
It is what it is. It's not I'm not in first place. Humble brag. But it's a very interesting scenario, I think, that's played out with Eugenio Suarez, a guy who is very streaky, and this might be like the longest streak I've ever seen from him of
Yeah.
just purely being hot.
I mean, I've been kind of out on him for a couple seasons. I think I had him maybe 2 or 3 seasons ago, and he was just dreadful. So that somewhat soured me on him. I think going into this season, I know you had a much more rosy outlook for him at the start, and you were right. Yeah, and he's been great. Fell in for Alex Bregman, but I just, I felt like I needed to make a move.
No, that was a great trade. You had a surplus at the position. I would take Bregman being better than Suarez rest of season. I would take Westberg being better than Suarez rest of season, just because I don't think either one of those two guys could actively hurt your roster like
Yeah.
Suarez has done at a point this season. So
Mhm.
I think that was a really good move for you. You add a top of the line pitcher, a top 20 pitcher in fantasy. Yes, he's been
Yep.
sputtering lately, but maybe that helped you acquire him. And
Right.
okay, so he has a bad July. Like the rest of the time, he could be great.
Most pitchers, no matter how good they are, I mean, maybe outside the top three, are going to have probably a couple weeks of negative regression, I would say.
Absolutely. And you have to like what you've seen from Logan Webb overall this
Yeah.
season. So a great trade for you, a good trade for me, to just add the depth that we needed and fill in a hole in our roster in the 12-team league. maybe we both have another move or two up our sleeves in that league. I don't know. We'll see. It's like you
Maybe.
said, very hard to make any moves outside of ad drops. But over to the 10-teamer, I made a trade. I've been looking for a pitcher in that league for a couple months. I just wanted one more pitcher. I didn't need an ace. I didn't need a stud. I just wanted something better than replacement level waiver wire fodder. I was rostering Yu Darvish and Lucas Giolito. I didn't want to do that anymore. The question marks, the uncertainty, I
Yeah.
do not like it. So I couldn't find a deal. And I'll detail one of the offers that I made in that league a little bit later.
Breaking news.
Uh-oh.
Ding, 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 ding. In IRL baseball,
Uh-oh.
Yankees are acquiring Ryan McMahon from the Rockies. I wish I had video of your response.
So let me get this straight. Hold on. You seated? Everyone seated? All right. The Yankees release DJ LeMahieu to trade for Ryan McMahon, who away from Coors Field is DJ LeMahieu. I can't. I don't. Okay, Ryan McMahon, he's 30 years old and he's hitting .217 with 16 homers and 35 RBIs through 100 appearances this year. .217!
Guess that's better than Oswald Peraza.
Is it?
I don't
Is
know.
it better than Jorge Vivas? Maybe McMahon will slide into third base instead of getting thrown out by Ronald Acuna. Oh my God. Really? Okay. I'm very curious to see what they gave up in that deal because
Not much.
look, okay. McMahon is, I believe he's a left-handed hitter, right? So Yankee Stadium, lefty, but he's terrible away from Coors Field.
I know.
Okay. 2 minor league pitchers.
The Yankees must be targeting pitching, I would imagine. Because probably Suarez is just astronomically expensive right now because there aren't like 4 teams in on him. Like the Cubs, the
Yeah.
Astros, I think another team. Oh, the Mariners, I think, might be interested. So I wonder if the Yankees just didn't have the pieces. This is just for this season, I imagine.
Ryan McMahon's contract. Let's look it up. This is happening live on the podcast, people. We were not prepared for this. Breaking news, like you said. Yankees acquiring Ryan McMahon from the Rockies.
Also, Gregory Soto to the Mets.
Bullpen depth ahead of Edwin Diaz. McMahon is actually under contract for 2 more seasons at $16 million a year.
Oh, guess McMahon is gonna be a Yankee for a while.
So they released DJ LeMahieu and ate his $22 million to acquire a carbon copy for $16 million. Oh my God. All right. Anyway, I can't. We're gonna rant about this for the rest of the pod, and I can't. Oh boy.
Anyway,
I don't think. Well, let's touch on fantasy for Ryan McMahon for just a second because this is Gregory Soto's value doesn't change, but Ryan McMahon's value, I think, goes nowhere. Also, because he can't hit away from Coors Field.
Yeah.
Beginning and the end of it. All right. Anyway, back to my 10-team trade that I made. I was just looking for a pitcher, as I was saying. Didn't have to be an ace. I was just looking for something better than replacement level. The trade that I was initially pursuing was for Grant Holmes, and I'll detail that a little bit later. But it ended up being that the only available and acquirable pitcher was not just an ace, but like the number 2 pitcher in fantasy this year in Zach Wheeler. Okay. So I traded a 2nd-round pick, and in this league, keepers work, as we've detailed in the past, the round that they were drafted in the previous year plus 1 round. Zach Wheeler was drafted in round 2 this year, and that's the pick that I traded for him. And I got arguably the number 2 or number 1 pitcher in fantasy, and that's not what I was setting out to acquire. That's not what I wanted to pay as far as draft capital, but you can't argue with the talent received back.
I think that was great. That manager was sort of off my radar because he buy? Wasn't he like a buy a buyer?
He traded a first round pick for Trey Turner and Felix Batista.
Oh God. Um so I thought he was like competing. So I also I think I made a trade earlier a couple weeks ago. So yeah, kudos to you for waiting it out a bit.
Look, my initial offer was actually a third round pick. And I thought,
Yeah.
okay, Joe Ryan was acquired for a third. A couple other pitchers were acquired for third round picks, ace level pitchers. And I thought, okay, well, a third should do it. I'm not asking for anything else. And I thought that was a really good offer. And when he comes back to me and he goes, "Would you do a second round pick?" I kind of got pissed a little bit because I thought I finally make an offer that I know should work. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, I'm terrible at putting together offers. I finally make an offer that I know should work, and it got denied. So I got a little pissed. And then I did a quick bout of research. There are some other teams competing that have their second round picks available, whether they traded their first or not yet. Depends on the team. And he did draft Wheeler in the second round. So I thought, okay, he drafted him there. Trading that should be fine. I have the pieces to reacquire a second round pick in the offseason if I really want to. So, like I said, you can't argue with the talent that I got back for the pick.
Yeah.
Less was acquired for first rounders, so I'll say that.
Plus, yeah, that's very true. But also, you have ridiculous keepers. So even if you don't get a second round pick back, your keepers can offset that loss, I would say.
That's fair.
Because you have like a couple of first round keepers plus the first round picks. So.
Yeah. Anyway, second round pick for Zach Wheeler. You traded a Eugenio Suarez for Logan Webb, and I traded a fourth round pick for Freddie Peralta. So those were the trades that we made this week. But couple quick stories. We'll get through these real quick because I want to spend some time on the trade market. It's a lot of fun. There were two guys in our 12-team league, as you alluded to, sent out emails to everyone saying, hey, I've got some players available on my team. Basically, everybody's available except ABC.
That kind of email just kind of irks me because it's so like, I just think it's kind of lazy. I know, I guess maybe it's like a strategy for, people to show their interest, but it's just like everybody not named, so, X player and X player is available. But it's like, okay, but what's really of it? I don't know. It's just, anyway.
Yeah, no. Because you are correct. Because one of the managers said everybody is available except Bobby Witt and George Kirby.
Right.
Meanwhile, this is a keep forever league. This manager has Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Okay.
All right. You put it to the test.
Another manager said everybody is available except Scooble, Pete Crow Armstrong, and CJ Abrams. He said he's looking primarily for picks in return or swaps for keeper level players too. Meanwhile, he has Corey Seager. Okay. And Hunter Brown. And I made an offer for Corey Seager before he sent this email out. My offer was Mike Trout for Corey Seager. Now, sure, is that a little bit of a... It's a little off. It's not a 50-50 trade.
No.
But I'm in first place. You're fighting for a playoff spot. You have three shortstops. He's got Seager, Abrams, and Jacob Wilson. And his outfield could use an upgrade. So I thought, okay, oft-injured for oft-injured. Power upside, no real speed anymore. What's really the difference between those two players, other than position at this point? One could argue Seager is odds of staying healthy are a little higher, but I would argue against that because he's got an IL stint for 4+ weeks every season for the last few years. He's had multiple this season, multiple hernias. Who knows, right? So that was my offer, and he replies with Corey Seager for Ronald Acuna.
That just shuts the whole thing down.
The whole thing. Like, how do I can't, that's not a starting point. You want arguably the best player in fantasy, the number 2 player in fantasy, if you want to put Witt ahead of him, or Judge. Maybe he's number 3 now, Acuna. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Top 3. And his explanation for sending that back to me was he sent it as a joke because he thought my original offer was funny because Seager is a top shortstop when healthy and Trout has been average and even more unhealthy. Okay, let's dissect that response a little bit, okay? Not a joke. It was a serious offer. It's not like I sent him, I don't know, Noah Cameron for Corey Seager. Okay, it's not like I sent him, I don't know, Starling Marte for Corey Seager. I sent him Mike Trout.
I don't know. I think Seager. I mean, I think maybe he's just this guy has like name value, dysmorphia or something. Because
Yes.
I think Seager is borderline top 10 shortstop these days. Top 10. I don't know. I think I'd take Zach Neto over Corey Seager.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. Sorry, people. Times are a changing.
I would take Zach Neto too because Seager has 0 speed. He's never had speed. He doesn't run. And unless he's going to hit 300 plus, he's just an average power hitter. Even if he hits 285, 290, he's just a power hitting shortstop. And there are plenty of those these days. And honestly, at that position, I want a guy who's going to steal a few bags.
Yep.
So, not a joke. And he says Seager's a top shortstop when healthy. Shortstop is a very deep position. So I would argue with you that he's not necessarily a top shortstop anymore. And he says, quote, even more unhealthy. So you're admitting that Seager has a health issue also. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, I didn't know what to do with that. And it was just so ridiculous. I have not canceled it because I feel insulted, and I'm just going to leave it there. And I know that goes against everything we said. But no, I believe he canceled that offer. Anyway, so that's story number 1. Story number 2, the other guy who emails everybody in the league. Well, first of all, his team name is New Alonzo City. He doesn't have Pete Alonso on his team anymore. Change your team name. First and foremost, change your team name. It's not on your roster. Change it, okay?
You're lazy.
Yeah, it's lazy. You know what else is lazy? The way he looks at trades. Because I sent him a 9th round pick, which again is the 3rd round of actual draftable players in how our draft works. So I sent him a 9th round pick for Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Again, testing the theory that everybody on his team is available except Witt or Kirby. So I sent him that, and his response when he declined the trade, and I give him credit, he declined it within probably 20 minutes. So at least he did that. His response was, "Picks, bro. I need picks." Meanwhile, my offer was exclusively a pick.
I know.
So you talk about lazy. That's lazy, like Reed.
That guy I've dealt with before, and he's just completely, I've sent like amazing offers to him. I think he has Bobby Witt Jr., and I think I sent just a very good competitive package, and he responded saying like it wasn't enough, and it was just like, all right, well, this guy will never be appeased, and definitely sours my, wanting to deal with him. I think that's another aspect of all of this is that, how you compose yourself when you make deals or try and make deals will influence the deals that you can make going forward. Because if you're a real pain in the butt or you're trolling or whatever, that's going to sour people on wanting to deal with you. Your reputation is everything ultimately.
Yeah, that goes for everything in life, not just fantasy baseball. Now, I just want that was the other story. I had a couple other back and forths with that guy because I initially took aim at Kirby before he sent out that email. He came back with like Senga for a 10th, and I was like,
no.
And I detailed on the midweek minutes that Kodai Senga should be a sell high. So he tried. So maybe he does listen to the pod. But in which case, change your team name, dude. Anyway, going back to the 10-team league, I know I acquired Zach Wheeler, but I was trying to acquire a mid-level pitcher, just something better than replacement level. And I had even stooped to the point of trying to acquire Grant Holmes. That was the guy I initially took aim at because that team is the one that sold every piece off earlier in the season as a way to rebuild. And I thought, okay, Grant Holmes, he's not going to keep Grant Holmes. This is just a guy on his team to fill innings and reach the minimum of the week, the innings limit. So I offered him, I have a surplus of keeper talent. I offered him Noelvi Marte for Grant Holmes. So Marte for Holmes makes a lot of sense for a team with very few keeper assets going into next year. He sold all of his previous keepers because he can't keep them anymore. They've come to the end of their keeper contract. So I thought Marte for Holmes is great because you're not going to keep Grant Holmes. He's not going to be keeper worthy ever.
No, never.
So ultimately, he did not accept that, and he countered, and it was something ridiculous. And then I countered back Marte and a 13th round pick for Holmes and a 14th round pick, and a 14th round pick is the last available pick he has. That still was a no-go. So I'm even saying you can move up in your last available round pick. You're getting the better keeper player, and he still wouldn't accept it. And he said to me he really wasn't interested in Marte, and that just blew my mind. I couldn't understand why he wouldn't even just take the... You're not giving away an asset of any value in Grant Holmes to acquire a possible asset. Like, I don't understand that whatsoever. It's malpractice.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. I mean, I just feel like Marte is far and away the better lotto ticket in terms of a power, speed, bat. Could be nothing, but Grant Holmes is for sure not going to be nothing. So sorry, Grant Holmes. I just learned of like keeper assets. Yeah.
Yeah, it just, I couldn't believe that. And I texted the manager afterwards and I was like, I can't believe you tried to get me to overpay for Grant Holmes. And he says to me, well, the goal is to always get somebody to overpay. And I said, well, dude, first of all, me, I'm not going to do it. Like, and also, why are you doing that to me?
Yeah.
Because this is one of my very good friends. And like, why are you doing that to me? And also, like, you should just be making that deal for the reasons that you said. Like, Marte is the lotto ticket. Grant Holmes is nothing. Anyway, I couldn't believe that, and it frustrated me. But there's a reason why this manager has struggled in recent seasons, I suppose. All right, so moving on, it's the Yahoo trade market. This is gonna be fun. So what is the Yahoo trade market and where can you find it? It is a little tool on Yahoo where if you go to the top of the page on a browser, or I mean, I guess you could do it on your phone, but definitely on an internet browser on a computer, if you go up to the research tab, there's a trade market submenu. And you click on that and you can enter a player's name, any player, and you can see what deals were made that day for that player. And it gives you an idea of what the value is across leagues. And I think it's hysterical and a very fun tool to use. And you and I spent about a half hour just going through that after the pod last week just to have some fun. So what we'll be doing is we're going to be inputting some player names that are really heating up the real life hot stove, like Eugenio Suarez, like Josh Naylor, who got dealt yesterday. And we're going to see what their value is in fantasy. So first up, Josh Naylor, who got traded yesterday from Arizona to Seattle for 2 pitching prospects, Brandon Garcia, Brandon with a Y, that's a first time. Brandon Garcia made his MLB debut earlier this week. And also lower level pitching prospect, 21-year-old Ashton Izzy. So let's fire up the trade market. Let's input Josh Naylor's name and let's see what we get. So I put it in. It says that there were 11 total trades so far today. And first up, we've got Josh Naylor for Spencer Torkelson and Jordan Westberg.
Dang. I almost think I would. I mean, I think Naylor over Torkelson, but is that Torkelson's been sputtering, I think.
Yes.
But Westberg, man. Yeah, the only thing, if you don't know the team contexts of these trades for the most part, so Naylor's kind of been cool. I don't know.
How about this one? Josh Naylor and Byron Buxton for Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
Ooh, wow. Well, I need pitching, so I think I'd go Yamamoto side.
How about this one? This one feels like he was given away. This must be a dynasty league. Josh Naylor for Yainer Diaz and Christian Campbell.
Yeah, that's got to be a keeper, I imagine.
Yeah. How about this one? Josh Naylor for Christian Yelich.
Guess maybe that one player, the surplus of first baseman?
Possibly. Josh Naylor for William Contreras and Vinny Pasquantino.
Someone needs a catcher.
Josh Naylor for Mason Miller.
That's annoying. Yeah, I guess you need a closer.
That's definitely not a trade I would ever even formulate in my mind.
Unless like someone picked up Nick Kurtz or something and it's like shipping off. Because I don't know. Was Kurtz better than Naylor?
I mean, for the last month, maybe. Here's one: Josh Naylor and Shohei Ohtani, the hitter, for Bryce Harper and Juan Soto.
Ooh, wow. Wow.
Big
I think-
names moving in that one.
I think it might go Soto Harper.
I think I would too.
Kind of break up the talent there.
Yeah,
to
because
two spots.
I think that's the best player and the fourth best player for the second and third in that deal.
Yeah.
I think I would do that.
Yeah.
All right, and last one for Josh Naylor. There's a bunch on here. We're not going to go through all 11. The last one, these can get pretty wonky. Josh Naylor, Nolan Arenado, Christian Walker, and Logan O'Hoppe for Nate Eovaldi, Mackenzie Gore, Logan Webb, and Shota Imanaga.
Wow.
That's like,
Fistful of beans for some gold.
yeah. Oh, boy. So, like I said, they can get a little wonky. That is the trade market for Josh Naylor. It's probably not helpful for you at all, but take into account your league context. Maybe you got some starting points in there. Like if you need an outfielder, Christian Yelich, that's an interesting offer. That one, I think, perked me up the most. All right, so next up, we've got, the hottest name, without a doubt, on the market this year, or I should say this trade season. That is Eugenio Suarez, who you dealt for Logan Webb. Let's see how you did relative to the rest of fantasy baseball on Yahoo. 9 trades today for Suarez. Let's fire up the trade market. All right, so first up, this has got to be Dynasty because what? Eugenio Suarez for J.J. Weatherholt.
Oh, wow. I wonder who's going to get called up this season. Anyway, radical.
All right, so next up, we've got Eugenio Suarez for Austin Riley and Daniel Palencia.
Oh, okay.
Eugenio Suarez for Chris Bubich and Lawrence Butler.
I think I would stick with Suarez.
Yeah, I might too. I'm really afraid of Bubich's workload limits rest of season.
Me too.
And Butler hasn't been that great.
No, he's very, very streaky. Maybe streakier than Suarez.
Eugenio Suarez and Jacob Wilson for Juan Soto.
Oh, what?
That one is not good.
I need like a barf fail or something for this segment.
All right, next up, like I said, they can get a little wonky. All right, here we go. Eugenio Suarez, Max Scherzer, Trevor Story, Kirby Yates, Shane McClanahan, Alec Burleson, Jack Leiter, and Travis Bazzana. If you're keeping count, that's 8 players.
Just trading rosters here.
For George Springer, Max Fried, Ranger Suarez, Riley Green, and Tariq Skubal.
Any trade that's like has more than 3 players is automatic BS to me. Just nonsense.
That is wild. Here's an interesting one. So that was ridiculous, but this one, I think this one's going to maybe make you perk up. Eugenio Suarez, Mackenzie Gore, and Andy Pages for Chris Bassett, Brandon Woodruff, and Rafi Devers.
Ooh, I would go with the trade for the Devers side.
I would as well. Woodruff has looked decent. Chris Bassett looks like he's getting hot again. Just had a great game against the Yankees, and Mackenzie Gore's on a downward trend, and I don't trust Pages. I don't care how good he's been this year.
No.
And Devers is the best player in that deal, so always try and acquire the best player.
Agreed.
All right, one more, just because I can't help myself here. Eugenio Suarez, Yandy Diaz, Randy Arozarena, and a 5th-round pick for Bryce Harper, Riley Green, and a 1st-round pick. Obviously, I'm on the side of acquiring Harper, Green, and the 1st-round pick, right?
Yeah.
What? Not only do you get the better players, but you get the better pick? Was that trade made in our league? Well, I think next Friday's show comes after the trade deadline, so maybe we can analyze some real-life trades, and we can talk about their fantasy impacts. I think that would extend our trade deadline special, because this was a fun one.
Part 2.
Part 2. Yeah, why not? Let's say
Sequel.
it. We'll say it now. Stay tuned for the sequel. We'll try and make it The Godfather Part 2, where it's better than the original, because that does it for Part 1 of our trade deadline special. We'll be back next week with 2 episodes of Midweek Minutes to get you caught up on all the most important news and notes from around the league, and of course, our feature-length episode as well. To make sure you never miss an episode, please subscribe. We're available wherever you get your podcast: Amazon, Spotify, YouTube, the Odyssey app. Did I miss one? Apple Podcasts. Literally, wherever you get your podcast, we're there. Subscribe. Give us a listen. We're here to help you down the home stretch of the fantasy baseball season. For the Simon to my Garfunkel, Josh Day, I'm Eric Henriksen saying, see you next time.
See ya.